Difficult. Women. Hello. Welcome to Difficult Women.
Yeah. I don't know how to start. I'm Katy.
I'm Marie.
We are also each one half of the musical comedy duo Reformed Whores. I love saying we're each one half. Just like
we are each one half. I like when it's like when our powers combine, we make Reformed Whores and Difficult Women podcast.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
So we went to a bar this week.
Oh my gosh. It was so exciting.
It was so exciting.
It was an outside rooftop bar that is doing a very good job of social distancing, and there was hand sanitizer everywhere. Just so you know, we were very
Just so you know, it was very, very responsible, very safe. Our good friend Britt Genelin opened it.
Yes.
If you find yourself in Brooklyn during this time, don't come visit. Don't travel
come visit.
here.
Yeah. Stay out of here.
But if you live in New York City
right.
and you need a good rooftop bar, it's called Runaway Roof. What's it called?
Yes, Runaway Roof.
Runaway Roof.
Yeah, it's in Bushwick.
Yes. So Katy and I got to go to a bar and drink cocktails. It was glorious.
It was glorious. And we also, before we did that, we went to the beach, and I had not left within like a 5-mile radius of my house for 5 months. So it was like glorious to be on the beach. I got real.
She was like holding the sand in her hands, like
kissing it, just rubbing it on my face, like No, I did get a very bad sunburn though. I'm like in a lot of pain, but it was worth it.
No,
I like forgot how to be outside. I don't know how to be outside anymore. It was rough.
I too got a little sunburnt, but it went away, thank God.
Oh God, mine is
as good sunburns do. Yours is still there?
Mine's like on my back. It's like so red, but also there's like little handprints because I was like, that's enough. That's good enough. And it just like really didn't do good. It's fine. Whatever. Nobody's seeing me anyway. But I want to mention, and I don't know, I saw somebody on Facebook. We posted a picture of us on the beach in our masks, and somebody posted, and I don't know if they deleted it or if it's still up there, but somebody posted like, it almost seemed like they were angry at us. Like, why are you wearing masks on the beach when there's nobody around? Like, so mad about it. First of all, we do what we want. So don't tell us what to do. And secondly, it's so that we can protect each other. You know what I mean? It's like, why do people think that we can't infect each other?
Right.
How dumb.
We got 2 more trolls about this picture.
We did.
I don't know if you saw this one. Oh, goodness.
Oh, what did they say?
This guy really likes to troll us. I'm just going to say his name because you guys can look on Instagram. This is under Reformed Whores, our Instagram. Hank.maze. He says, and this is after our picture of us posting with wearing masks at the beach. I really dislike the fact that most of my comments are negative. Yes, he has trolled us in the past. So
he knows that they're negative. Okay, that's weird.
I really dislike the fact that most of my comments are negative. I really do. It is very unfortunate. You ladies can be very funny. I really don't want to hate. But his grammar's wrong. Why are I going along with this insane mask BS? Any good study shows that masks do not stop viruses. Even N95 masks are ineffective. If they worked, I would be the first person to wear one and would proudly promote it. You look like a couple of mindless drones doing whatever is commanded of you. Please wake up.
First of all, if you don't like what we're doing, don't follow us. You don't have to follow us.
I
can do what I want. I can do anything that I want as long as I don't hurting anybody else. And guess what? Wearing a mask does work. And it actually it's better for people. So don't get mad at me because I'm wearing a mask. The people that are so mad about the masks, first of all, you should wear a mask because it does work and it's to protect other people. And I don't know what you're reading that's saying that it doesn't work. Does it like 100% prevent viruses from spreading? No one's saying that it does, but it really does help prevent it. And there's a lot of evidence that that's the case. So I don't really know. This is just so political in this weird way. But secondly, the thing that kills me is it's one thing if you're like, I'm not going to wear a mask. I mean, these people are like, my body, my choice, which you're like, hello, like that's what we've been saying forever. But also, if it's my body, my choice, like you're telling me, Mr. Mask Guy, then it's my choice to wear a mask. Leave me alone.
Right.
Why are you're still trying to tell people what to do?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out
well,
of here.
I wrote him back. I wrote back
What'd you say?
at hank.mays.
Tell me.
Please send us 5, in quotation marks, any good study, to quote you,
Right.
that supports this scientific fact to reformedwhores@gmail.com, and we'll have a private discussion to understand where you're coming from. All good studies must be based on scientific evidence, and doctors must be confirming your information.
Yeah.
Thank
They
you.
could just send
Guess
one.
what?
He didn't say.
Well, I wanted 5. I wanted 5.
yeah.
I want him.
Sure. He could
just
literally
send some.
but he could send one. And
Mhm.
and we could still, I guarantee it wouldn't be from a real doctor. It'd be from like that
Well, right.
lady that like thinks that, you're having sex.
But that's why I
with
think
sex
it's
demons.
curious. He hasn't emailed us yet.
He probably hasn't read he hasn't read anything. He heard somebody on the street once say there's a lot of evidence, and he hasn't read a single article.
Right.
Cool. Great.
Well, then that woman on Facebook wrote us. Maybe that's what you're saying.
Maybe this
but
is the one.
she wrote, yeah, why are you wearing masks outside at the beach with no one around? And then I wrote her back, because we get trolled for wearing them in pictures and for not wearing them in pictures. So we put them on to hedge our bets. But we really can't win, can we? And then she wrote, I understand. Love your songs. Girls Poop too. Hilarious.
Yeah.
I was
But
like, okay.
if I had wrote her back, I would have been like, so we take care of each other.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. This is the real God's honest truth. When we went to the beach, there was nobody around us for 30 fucking feet or 50 feet. There was nobody
there was
there.
no one.
So when you're there, you don't wear a mask.
No, it's fine. And also part of it is just sort of being like, but we wore a mask in the car together.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
When
we
I
were
don't know where you've
enclosed.
been, bitch.
I know where you are.
But it's just being responsible and keep,
Totally.
But the second we're outside and there's not anybody around.
But also, like,
yeah,
if
you
I
better believe.
feel like wearing a mask today, what does that hurt anybody? Just
Right.
leave me alone.
Right.
God's sake.
Yes. Absolutely. So anyway, I love the trolls. I love it. It's so fun.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Everybody does, and they send us messages. Speaking of a good message.
Yes, let's read a good one.
I wanted to read you this because I think it'll spark an interesting conversation. Let's see. Okay. Our good friend Sarah from Charleston wrote us via Instagram.
Ooh.
Okay, so Sarah wrote, I've been thinking a lot about what y'all discussed in the Naked Athena episode, specifically about whether being naked in front of others is offensive, wrong, or abusive. I had a long discussion with a male friend recently about it because Mac DeMarco has been brought up in the Burger Records scandal due to him being naked on stage. And my friend and I were arguing in a gentle, constructive way about whether this constitutes abuse. If you pay to attend a music concert and then the performer gets naked unexpectedly, I said that nudity is this natural state, and as long as he wasn't doing anything sexual with his naked body, I didn't see the problem. My friend countered that sometimes just seeing a penis can be triggering or harmful to people. So if one wasn't expecting it, it could constitute abuse. We sort of agreed to disagree about it. As performers, what do y'all think?
I mean, I think there's a lot of gray area in this conversation. I think it's really hard to say like that it's 100% okay all the time, and it's hard to say it's 100% not okay all the time. I understand that some people are triggered by nudity, but I think the other issue there is like being naked is natural,
Mm-hmm.
So what are we doing as a society to make it, that clearly if someone is triggered by a penis, my guess is that there's an abuse situation there, right? So that is a problem already. So there's that. I think if I was going to get naked on stage in a show, I'd probably, there'd be some sort of a warning maybe just because of that, so it's like, you don't have to come if you don't want that, I don't know. But I think also like nudity is an act of protest, as we discussed. That's not a thing where you go and be like, hey, just to warn all of y'all, I'm going to take my clothes off. That's not, you're not going to warn people for that. I don't know. I think generally we need to like normalize bodies. And I think also there's a difference sometimes, and this maybe there shouldn't be, but there sometimes can be a difference between a naked man that is out there and then a naked woman. We certainly perceive those things as different things.
I remember us going to that place, drink and draw. Drink and draw. And I personally was really shocked that they were naked, and I was fine with it, but I guess I was a little bit, it was a little jarring. I didn't expect it. I thought it was, I don't know what I expected that drink and draw was going to be. I thought we were just going to be, I don't know what we thought. I don't know.
Draw some apples or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I was
Apples
just
and
going to get
grapes.
drunk and draw some, still life. But I was definitely, it was interesting because I was so super aware. It all of a sudden made me feel very prudish. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to draw her nipples and her veins and, I don't know. But my mom is an artist, and she always had taught me, if ever I needed some extra money in college or something, to go to the art studio and ask and see if they needed any models, because the naked body is art. And it's especially helpful to artists to draw. And it is a beautiful, wonderful thing.
Right.
So, I mean, there's lots of,
I think also the other issue is it's like the body is normal and we have not normalized it.
Especially in America. We were settled by prudes. So it's like, that's a problem. So we need to cut that out. So I think that especially when it's like a still life or something, I'm not judging you for having that reaction. That was the reaction you had, but you have that reaction because it is like instilled.
It's instilled in you that like that's sexy or sexual or whatever. When it's not. She was just sitting there. She's just sitting there. Like she just happens to not be wearing clothes, And I do think that then there's this weird thing about nudity though, where like there is a fine line between someone who's just naked in their body and then someone who then is all of a sudden doing a sexual act, right?
Yes.
And those two things are going to be a very different experience too. So
Right.
I think with this kind of conversation, the answer is context.
Yeah, context. And if we ever were to get naked on stage, which we
won't. I don't think
that
we're going to do that.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Yeah,
part of the show.
I don't think I'm working.
You will know it in the reflection of the ticket prices.
Oh yeah,
and and there will be a disclaimer of 70s bushes on stage.
70s
Watch
bushes.
out.
Yeah, that will
That's
traumatize everybody. No, just kidding.
No, normalize bushes, girl.
Normalize all of it. Normalize
All of it.
all of it. And I think
Yes.
you also have to like desexualize. It's not that we desexualize the human body because the body is also used for like sex, but like there has to be an awareness that like how come people there's communities of people that don't wear many clothes and that's not a problem. You know what I mean? Like, so this is an American problem. This is like a Western problem.
Yes, stop shaming us.
Don't shame people.
That's right.
And I don't know. I mean, with that particular, I'd have to have been at that concert with that guy, I think, to see like what he did and what his reasoning for it was and how, if it was sexual or not sexual. And if it felt like he was just taking his clothes off, then I guess that's not, I don't think that's. Also, you have the right to leave. You know what I mean? You're allowed to leave a place too. So
What band was it that wore socks on their dicks?
I don't remember.
Oh, I always thought that was a beautiful little thing.
Wait, did the Red Hot Chili Peppers do that?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm way for that too. I love that.
Sure. They're not naked. It's fine.
No.
I don't know.
You know what we do know about though?
Yeah. What?
And I've been knowing about it a lot this week. Let me tell you.
Tell me.
Woo!
What do you know about?
Self-pleasuring.
Oh, yeah.
And you know who's really good at self-pleasuring and giving you things to help with that?
AdamandEve.com.
That's right. Check it out.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff to spice up your bedroom is even better.
Select almost any one item for 50% off, and then Adam and Eve loads on the free stuff.
Enter offer code HORIO at checkout and get 10 tantalizing free gifts.
A sexy item for him, a special gift for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy.
And 6 free spicy movies.
Ooh! Plus, free shipping.
That's HORIO, WHOREO, HORIO at AdamandEve.com.
Because I live alone now, I have my vibrators lined up on my windowsill, so I can be like, ooh, which one today?
You're going to get like a sunstroke or something. I don't know.
I like to warm them in the sun.
Yeah, just warm them up.
It's very romantic.
Well, let's get into it, huh?
Let's.
So first of all, here's the real truth. We just wanted to talk about something a little bit more chill today. So we're like I'm a little spent on a lot of stuff, a lot of drama happening. But there's something that's been popping up in the news. So we thought we'd discuss this because we have firsthand experience with this topic. And that is that this week is the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in Sturgis, South Dakota.
Vroom, 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 vroom. That's my motorcycle
she just
impression.
drove away.
Yeah, no, that's just me laughing at you because
right, or clapping, as that's how they do it. That's how the motorcyclists do it at Sturgis when they see you perform.
That's right, and we know that because we performed there 2 years in a row in the year 2015 and 2016.
Yes, and the reason why it's in the news right now is because they are actually holding it again this year. And I was sort of like going over like how it is a lot of people from all over the country and the world come to Sturgis, South Dakota, which is a very small town, very small population under normal circumstances. But they all ride their motorcycles out there and into the Black Hills and different, they hang out in different communities there and camp and do socializing around motorcycle stuff. But I was looking at like what are the numbers? So this year they were saying they're expecting 250,000 people to descend on this tiny town.
The largest gathering since the pandemic.
Yes. And that's a lot of people. I will say that in previous years, the number's been more like 500 to 700,000. So at least less people are coming, but it's like still so many people.
When we were there in 2015, there were 700,000 people there.
That was the most they've ever had.
Yes. And it was because of us. They came to see Reformed Horse.
To see us. We have so many fans.
So many fans.
But it'll be interesting. I mean, I think I keep thinking about, clearly it's a terrible idea. This is a terrible idea to be holding this year. But I think about like, well, at least it's outside mostly, except for when people are drinking inside of bars. And no one is going to be wearing a mask, though they should.
That's what I was going to say. I think the biggest problem is nobody's going to be wearing a mask. And I've been watching, in preparation for this episode, I just briefly, read there's an article in the New York Times about it. There's a lot of video footage of people walking Main Street.
Yeah.
And nobody's wearing a mask. And then when the reporters, interview people, one guy said that it's a conspiracy, it's made up, all this sort of stuff. So, a lot of people are just not going to be wearing masks because it feels like it's their right. They claim it's their right. So.
Yeah. One thing too about it is that like a lot of people that go are over 50.
Yes.
So they're like the most at risk of this too. So we kind of know it's not going to end well in the long run, but it's sort of interesting how like the state has been handling it too, because their governor, the South Dakota governor, Kristi Noem, she has been very vocal about not enforcing anything during this pandemic. She doesn't want to shut anything down. She doesn't want anyone to feel like they have to wear a mask. She doesn't really push the mask thing. They had a big event at Mount Rushmore when Trump came, and she was like wanting as many people to come as possible. She was definitely encouraging Sturgis, the rally. So there, I've been thinking too about how, like, honestly, if they had like really set up some rules about mask wearing, they probably could have, they would probably have been able to save a lot of people from getting sick and dying, but they didn't. So, and I also found it interesting. I saw that Sturgis, the city, the town of Sturgis, the 60% of the population did not want to have the rally this year, and they voted for it anyway. And one of the things that's tough right now is that is their main source of income every year. Is this? It really like keeps people afloat, this one event.
It says that the state's Department of Tourism has estimated that the annual festival generates about $800 million in revenue.
Yeah. And that's like people's full, like what they make for the year, And so that 60% of those people still didn't want him to come. And also that like, and I can kind of see, especially if you're coming from a town or like a state that hasn't really been hit super hard. They've been hit a little bit hard because they had that outbreak with the meatpacking place, but they they're not. They keep saying like, well, we're not New York City, but they don't. I don't think they're getting that it doesn't matter. If you pack a ton of people in coming from all these other hotspots, I'm worried.
Well, that's what I thought was interesting in the New York Times. They were talking about how this guy from North Carolina, he's 66 years old, which is definitely, at risk for the virus. And he came from North Carolina and he went and he just said like, well, I don't know anyone who has it. And that honestly has been a lot. I've heard of that a lot from people. Well, do you know anybody who's had it? Do you know? Because I don't.
I mean, but you do.
I do.
Yeah. I was going to say,
I do.
No, and I know a ton of people. Yeah.
Right. And I've had a friend who passed away from it.
Yeah. And we have a comedy friend that died too. We were talking about that the other day, who is like not that old. So it's definitely like, it's a real thing. And I think it is hard for people when they don't experience it firsthand. But it's sort of interesting too about like the demographic of people that go to Sturgis are just that exact demographic of people that are sort of feeling like it's a hoax. And they're the kinds of people that are really into this idea that, you know, it's infringing on their liberties to wear a mask. And we kind of experienced some of that firsthand while we were there in terms of like, I think one of the things, because sometimes people give me a hard time for going to Sturgis. They're like, why were you like performing for those kinds of people? And, you know, that those are the Trump supporters and the worst people. But I have to say, and I always sort of feel this way, I feel so lucky that we got a chance to really immerse ourselves amongst people that are different than us. And that because people that we do not hang out with when we're in New York, because you really start to see their perspective. Now, I'm not saying we agree with their perspective. We never really do. But it was really fascinating to sort of see where people's heads were around different issues. And there was a Trump rally when we were there because it was that year of the election.
Yes, we accidentally found ourselves in the middle of a Trump rally after a show. The president of Buffalo Chip, which is a campground there, came out on stage and said he gave a little speech and his support for Donald Trump. And then the Trump signs came out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, you know, people were chanting for Trump. I started chanting for Hillary Clinton, and you got scared. You were like, Marie, don't.
I was like, we're going to die.
I was like, well, take me down, Jesus.
I mean, I think but it was such an interesting, I remember even being at that rally, that Trump, in the middle of that Trump rally thing.
Accidentally.
Yeah, but I think it was also, we hung around a little bit too, because I think we were like, what is this going to be about, you know? And one thing I did find interesting, and at that time too, there was certainly the like Trump supporters that were vocally for Trump, but I was also almost surprised by some of the people that I talked to, especially some of the little bit of the younger people who were like, they hated Hillary and they hated Obama. So they were going to vote for Trump, but they weren't that excited about him. You know, I remember there was those guys that were, had been in the army and stuff, and they were military guys, and they didn't like Obama because of something that Obama had passed or whatever, you know, how that stuff. And it was like a military based thing. I'd be so curious what they think about Trump now, since he's just shat all over the military people and the vets. But because like I think that was sort of an interesting thing to me too, where like there's the crazy people that you just can't have a conversation with, but there were people that I did get a chance to talk to, and again, I did never agreed with them, and it wasn't going to be a thing where we can change each other's minds. But I do think it's like it's been helpful, or it's been an interesting reflection during like this Trump administration to have had experience with other people, and knowing like the types of people that go to Sturgis, I can see like why they're not wearing masks. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can see.
And when we went, though, like you said, I mean, we went before Trump was elected, so the political climate was very different when
That's
we
true.
were at Sturgis. But we were still having these kind of conversations about freedom. They're very into, you know, everyone is very patriotic there, but then also really into freedom of speech, but then like just freedom to ride, freedom to, you know, to be. And I was really inspired by a lot of the people that we met during that time. Really, really kind, wonderful people that, you know, especially the people that work there.
Oh,
that we're still
the people that I've been following, like we're still buddies with those people, and they are super liberal, super liberal, and they really are liberals in sort of like a very conservative environment. So it's cool that they really do, and they're vocally liberal, which is really cool. But they like motorcycles, and they like, you know, and it's a kind of a cool gig because it's honestly, it's like running a concert venue is really where we were working. So you get to see a lot of things and you get to do a lot of stuff and you're camping out and you get to ride your motorcycle and stuff. So I get all that stuff being appealing. But you know what that reminds me of about the freedom and all that? Again, this is before the Trump stuff really got into gear. But that year, our last year there, Leonard Skinner was there. And we actually opened for Leonard Skinner. And that was the most people we've ever performed for ever in our lives. It was like 10,000, 20,000 people. I don't even know. A lot of people, which was like amazing. But I remember being really curious then. I was like, because their emblem was the Confederate flag. So I was like, are they going to have the Confederate flag out or not? And when they came on stage, they unwrapped a flag and it was the American flag. And I remember thinking like, oh, phew, okay, cool. Like, that's good. Like, that's a good thing. Like, I feel positive about that. And then halfway through the show, the lead singer is like, fuck that flag. Like, they made us take down our Confederate flag. And then he whips a Confederate flag out from his like butt crack or something. And is like waving it around. And he's like, they can't stop us. And then the whole crowd was like cheering. And I remember thinking, this is really scary. This is really fucking scary right now. And I think that like I think the general vibe with that group in that moment, especially, it's like the people that go to Sturgis they don't ever experience the negative side of that flag. For them, that flag is about freedom and rebels and blah, all that bullshit that people defend the flag about. And then they just don't understand like how fucked up it is to be supporting it to that extent, you know? And I was really scared. That moment scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh, here she go.
Well, the moment that scared the shit out of me, so like we said, we've been 2 years. So the second year we actually went back with in mind to film a web series. And we brought our camera guy with us and we filmed this awesome web series. It's called Journey to Greatness. I really hope you guys check it out.
You should absolutely watch it after this. It's a choose your own path web series. You're not allowed to say adventure anymore, but...
That's right. We were contacted, a cease and desist order from the novel, the books. But anyway, so it's a choose your own fate adventure story. Yeah. But we were filming and all of a sudden there's just chanting, America, America, America. And it was the most like, it was like fascist thing.
It was
or like
scary. It was scary.
It was scary. It was legit scary. And we have it in some of the footage. We didn't put it into the video. Like but looking at like some of the B-roll and stuff, I came across that and it is, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. I think that the individuals themselves are wonderful, or like once you get to know people at Sturgis on an individual level, we were able to meet some really nice people. But then as like a whole, it's quite terrifying.
And also, I mean, I think a lot of the people that made an effort to come see us or talk to us were a little bit more in line with what we were doing than maybe the people we never talked to. I don't know. And also some of the performers we became friends with. So there was just some very colorful, not skin colorful, but like, but just personality, full of personality individuals that we got to meet that we just never would have interacted with under any other circumstance. So I just really can never regret any of that by any stretch of the imagination. And we put a lot of those individuals into our web series. So if you want to see what we're talking about, go on over there.
Yes, please. Please.
Yeah. And again, we did meet some wonderful, wonderful people that we really did connect with in a real way. And there was a lot of people, like you said, that went for, people go for the motorcycles. They don't go to join a Trump rally. You know what I mean?
No.
They're there to ride and connect and make connections, and they have things in common with other people in the community. It's just weird how we're in such a weird time now where this politics are so, I mean, there was I doubt there were a lot of super liberal people that chose to pay to go there that year, or at least now this year, I can't imagine.
Well, that's what I really appreciate about the rally is that where it's placed in Sturgis, South Dakota, you can be able to do these awesome day trips, which we never got to do because we were working so hard. But, it's neat in the idea that like you camp, you either have a tent or an RV or whatever, and then you can ride the Black Hills that are there. You can go visit Mount Rushmore or, and I think that that's a really beautiful thing, go see the country.
Well, and that side of the country, it really is beautiful, beautiful countryside. And not countryside, it's like the hills. So it's just, it really is beautiful out there. So I get the appeal of wanting to be out. And then the other part of it, it's not just about like wholesome riding. It is definitely a debaucherous experience. It's a lot of drinking. It's probably a lot of drug use. I don't know.
We saw somebody having sex on a motorcycle while it was driving.
A lot of titties. A lot of titties. A lot of that kind of like, you know, what you might imagine from that kind of thing. But I do think that we did talk to some people too about how for them, you know, it's a lot of sort of working class white Americans who this is like their one time in their lives that they can blow off some steam and just have some fun. And this is what they, you know, this speaks to them. And there's a sense of freedom. I think that like that is one thing that you were just saying it earlier, but a lot of people that don't have freedom in their lives, in their day to day, because their bosses are breathing down their neck, or they're working hard, or they, you know, or their kids are like driving them crazy. This was their way to kind of really be free in this way that,
right.
And again, without all the racist parts of it, it could be fine. Like there's nothing about those things and they celebrate music. Cause again, like at our venue, it was a big concert venue where they had big rock people come and perform. And we got to see like Willie Nelson and Alice Cooper, and Weird Al came and we opened for him. And so, you know, it's like the right idea, but.
Well, for the record, I just want to say we were asked to open for Kid Rock.
Yeah, I love this story.
And we were like, nah, we're tired.
Well, we were like, the real truth is like, they were like, do you want to open for Kid Rock? And we were sort of like, I guess like, okay, like sure, whatever. I guess we'll just do it just to get more stage time. And then it started raining. And then he was like, postponed. And they're like, okay, now it's time. Are you ready to go on? And we're like, we're sleeping. Like, we're not going to go. We're sleeping now. And they're like, are you sure? Are you sure? I'm like, nah, we don't want to do it. And he's the worst. So it's great.
He is the worst. I didn't even know. I didn't remember that. I thought we were just like, no.
No, we were gonna do it. We didn't really want to do it, but they were sort of like, you know, we were gonna do it for them because they needed somebody to do it. Yeah. And they were like, we can get you on and like whatever, it'd be good to have one more person and da. Would you do it? Would you do it? And we were sort of like, oh God, it's okay, fine. And then like when it got delayed, we were like, we're in bed now. We're not doing this. We don't want to do it. So stupid. Oh God, so funny.
But I wouldn't change our experience. I wouldn't, you know, it was really epic in my life when it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think I also. Oh, sorry.
We were also paid the most. That's been the most we've ever been paid. But then also I've learned since, and this is the agents at our time. It's their foul, not the
venue, yeah.
Sturgis. But we learned that a man made the exact same amount of money we made, but we had to split it between two women. Right. So if you're just wondering about
how that works,
pay gap and gender issues in the comedy world.
It happens a lot, does.
It happens a lot. We're in a duo, so they split it. Yeah. And they just give us the same amount. It's great.
It's really annoying.
Anyway, not no more. Not anymore going forward. I mean, we're not touring, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that like, yeah, I don't really know. It's such a weird thing. I think I also was really, really, at that time, I knew that the country was becoming more and more divided. And I think that motivated me even more to want to be there, to try to bridge that gap a little, have these conversations, connect these like dots just a little bit more. And the other thing that I found during all of these conversations that I did have with people about like politics and stuff was that at the end of the day, with most people, we all want the same thing. We just think it comes from different aspects, right? So if you're watching Fox News, you know, you want your family to be like happy and safe, and you want your community to be a safe community and taken care of, and you want the people around you and your friends to be loved and to feel safe and all that. So we all want that. But then if you have Trump saying like, don't worry, we've like taken out all the public housing in your neighborhood so that you're, you know, that's the latest thing that he's been saying, so that the suburbs will be safe again or whatever. It's like, then people are like, yeah, that's what we want. It's like, no. That's not the right idea. How about we fund all the communities so that we can make everybody safe and happy, so that everybody can be taken care of, you know? So it's like, it's almost like almost like the same ideas that we have about life, and yet somehow get distorted through the political filter, you know?
I just remember the conversation I had with one person there about Obama, and just his viewpoint of it was that it was Obama's fault that racism existed.
Right.
And it was Obama's fault that it was as bad as it was at that time.
Right.
And that I think that conversation was 2016.
I do remember that.
And I tried to debate, but then, we're in the back of like a pickup truck and
also
so then I just kind of
the other thing was we're super outnumbered. Like we were, there's like nobody
everybody in that pickup truck was
and it's not even just the pickup truck, because like everybody on the campground, you know what I mean? Like we're just not, but it was really interesting to hear the words come out of, you kind of hear that people say that stuff, but then you hear someone say it in real time and you're like, oh my God.
Right. And coming from New York City, I have never heard anybody say that. So then all of a sudden I'm hearing this person really passionately saying that racism is Obama's fault.
And they're just regurgitating what they're hearing on Fox News and what they're hearing from like the, conservative conservative politicians and stuff. And it's really fucking scary. And I think that was, I guess that's the sad part of it for me in some way, which is that like, I think I was really hoping, and in some ways we did, I guess, like we went up on those stages in front of those particular types of people and we sang Girls Poop Too all the time, you know what I mean? And like, so we were really trying to spread a message that was different from what they were accustomed to hearing. And I think even just like trying to have conversations they were like unaccustomed to having, especially with women, it was something, but it wasn't, I think I just had this grandiose idea that we could make more of a difference. And obviously we didn't stop Trump because of going there. But but we did get Weird Al to listen to us sing on stage. And when we came off stage, he was there and he said that we had voices of angels or something like that. Yeah, it was cool. And I think he also was like, what am I doing here? But
yeah,
I heard he was like really scared of the motorcycle revving, and someone had to tell him like, don't worry, it's just them applauding because it freaked him out. Or I think we told his handler or something to be like, just that's what it was. We like got to hang out a little bit with one of his like production guys beforehand, and we were like, just warn him that if he starts hearing the revving of the motorcycles, that's a good thing, not like, and they're not going to attack you.
They're like applauding for you.
Even though it's really scary. It's fine.
Yeah, it scared the shit out of us the first time.
It's crazy. But
it was an incredible experience. I'm so glad we got to do it. We lived in an RV together. When we got there, we got a golf cart that we got to drive around. That was super fun. And then we met some really incredible people who we're still in touch with today and still debating.
Oh yeah. Still conversations being had, about some of these things.
Still having conversations. Yeah.
And again, I think that that's one thing that I'm not saying you should waste a lot of your energy on people if you feel like that's not where you want to put your energy. And I think that that's totally appropriate. But there is this weird balance where like, I think if we could have more conversations with people that are willing to have conversations, then I think it can make a difference. I think just screaming at each other all the time isn't going to help. There's one fan in particular who I do chat with, who will ask me questions from time to time and sort of privately. And then I explain why that's not okay or why this is whatever. And I think that like, that to me is hopeful because that's somebody that really they're reaching out to me in a not in a fighting way, just in like a questioning way. And that to me seems like somebody who comes from a very different background, but wants to know something different, and that's what we need more of, is just people reaching out and going like, hey, I want to know more about this. I clearly didn't experience this in my life and now I need more information.
I appreciate the private conversations. I think that it's really hard when you see on Facebook people just really going at it.
It's really hard because you also don't know the context, especially like when I post something and then if one of if a Sturgis buddy like reaches out and like says something very inflammatory, it's weird because like I know the context of who he is, and I'm not saying he should say those things, but I also see where people sometimes are like, what? Like, so I think so if any of y'all are listening out there, you can always reach out to us privately, and we can have we can explain ourselves more privately if you prefer. I don't know, or if you want to do it public, we'll tear you apart publicly. That's up to you, But if that's what you want, I don't know.
Right. Well, if any of our Sturgis fans are listening or any of the people that work at Sturgis are listening, please be careful.
Please be careful. Wear
a mask. Be the only person wearing a mask. I read that also in the Times is that nobody is wearing them. So then you feel crazy to wear one.
Be a rebel.
And then it defeats the purpose. Yeah. And it's like, no, just, be a true
rebel.
rebel.
Yeah,
and wear
don't go with the flow. Do what you know is right for you and for your family and for everybody. And also maybe when y'all are done, quarantine when you're headed home, maybe for 2 weeks. Before you go and hang out with your kids.
It's going to be a super spreader.
Yeah. I'm real worried.
Yeah. Anyway, check out our web series that we filmed there. We're
this
so proud
really
of
was
it.
just one big ad for our web series. I don't know if we sold it or not, but you should definitely watch it. There's some crazy, crazy antics that happen in there. And all of it is just stuff that was at the Chip. And the Chip was very good to us, and they were very, very supportive and kind to us. And they let us film that thing, which was really nice of them too.
They let us film that thing, and they let us... The most valuable, the most wonderful experience was the buffets that we got to go to.
So
they had like a VIP breakfast, lunch, and dinner buffet only for VIPs. And when we first got there, we were not supposed to go there. And I don't know what happened, but
you were just like, well, they gave the first day, they were like, because they said that they'd feed us, and they gave every day they'd give us like a ticket for a hot dog.
Hot dog or something. We were like, no, food is supposed to.
I don't know if we can eat a hot dog every day.
I think we pulled a diva and called our agent and was like, we can't eat hot dogs every day. We were watching our weight.
I honestly think we just went back there and we were just like, that's it. We're going to go there now. And I think we just decided we were coming in. I don't even think we had wristbands at that point. I think we just walked in there every day. And sometimes they'd be like, are you supposed to be here? And be like, yep. That was kind of that. The food was amazing. The ladies, and it's all home cooked. The ladies that made that food, they were so wonderful. Those ladies were lovely.
Oh my gosh, South Dakota food.
It's the best.
It's the best. Those salads with marshmallows, I'll never
favorite
forget.
South Dakota salads. I love them. It's like the food I grew up with. My family's from South Dakota, so I that food was very familiar to me. I love it.
Oh my gosh, casseroles. Not me, but I loved it. It was great. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. If you have anything you want to tell us,
honestly, I'd be curious too about
us.
if you're like mad that we went to Sturgis, or if I don't know. I'd be curious what people's feelings about it are. I think generally
I've gotten so many messages this week. Thank God you're not at Sturgis.
I love that. I was like, we wouldn't be invited back right now anyway.
No.
They don't want us. That's all.
They don't want us. And if we do ever go back, we're asking twice as much money, bitches.
Yeah, they'll never have us back. But that's fine. We're not going to sing vasectomy in Sturgis, I don't think. We should, but yeah.
Oh, they would love it.
Anyway.
Send us an email, difficultwomenpodcast@gmail.com.
Let us know what you want us to talk about, too, if there's anything I don't know, you want to hear. We love you all.
Sturgis is going on right now.
Yeah, we love y'all. If y'all are at Sturgis and listen to this, please wear a mask. And,
Yes.
Whatever. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Hop on my Harley, girl. Let's ride off into the sunset.
Okay.
Vroom, vroom.
You have a better sound, right?
That's like a scooter. You want a piece of my hoo-ha, hoo-ha. You gotta work for my hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Wanna get down with my hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Better bow down to my hoo-ha, hoo-ha. You wanna get with me, 'cause I'm the girl of your dreams. Don't like fancy cars, diamond rings. Just take me on over to the Burger King. No champagne or caviar. Just get me on a boat with some PBR and head south towards Mardi Gras. And I'll cut you off the size of my hoo-ha. You want a piece of my hoo-ha, hoo-ha. You gotta work for my hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Wanna get down with my hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Better bow down to my hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Treat me nice and do these things, and I'll share with you my bucket eye chicken wings. So brush my hair and rub my back, and I'll let you put sunscreen all over my rack. Reduce, reuse, recycle, makes me so hot like a motorcycle. Vroom, vroom. Be sweet to your grandma.